Hey everyone, it's Mark at the Dunright Ranch. It's Sunday, August 25th. I'm standing here beside my 2003 F-350. I bought this, not real sure, 4 or 5 months ago or so. I worked on it for a few months. I actually bought it, in 2 weeks or so after I bought it, I went to Daytona. So I must have bought it in the end of February. So worked on it for a few months here. It was super clean truck when I bought it. It had 117,000 miles on it, but it came from down south. I drove down to get it. Virtually no rust on the truck, but I did a bunch of modifications to it, and I wanted to show you what those were. I strictly bought this truck to pull my trailer and to do whatever, I wanted to do going on vacation and stuff. So when I'm not on vacation, the truck is basically parked and I use my old white beater truck. So anyway, let's get to it here and I'll show you what's going on in the back. All right, let's get her opened up here and see what's going on inside. All right. To start with, I've got a couple of Honda EU 2200 generators here, the main unit and then the companion, so they can be hooked together. I don't run them inside of here. This is just where I store them. But basically, to get to them, you pull these two bolts here, which stops the tray from moving, and then these will slide out so you can lift them off of here easier and put them on. Now there's a couple of circular pieces of steel down here that hold the legs in place, and then up under here there's a 2x4 with a couple of shims mounted, so when I push them in there, it pushes down on this handle right here and it keeps them firmly planted in this, and it's a good way to store them. They don't move much. Got the cable that hooks them together. I'll show you this in a bit here, but there's a plug on the truck where basically I'll set these out and I'll cable tie them to something, and then there's a 30 amp cord that hooks up to the companion here, and there's a plug on the truck, and I'll show you that to get my power inside of here. I've pulled one of the generators out so you can see up inside of here. The tray's still pulled out, but up under here I've got 3 5-gallon tanks and two 200 psi compressors. And the tanks and the compressors, they run, I've got airbags on the truck front and rear, and I've also got a train horn on it, and this all runs that. On the end of the middle tank, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but there is an air fitting there to be able to plug an air hose in, so if I want to inflate tires or something like that, I can. There's not really enough air here to run air tools. It'd be a little bit of a slow process as you waited for it to keep pumping back up. But I have electric tools for on the road, so they work pretty good. They're not the best, but they work pretty good. Back here I've got my fuses, relays, filters and stuff that are, the serviceable things here. There's also a couple water traps up under there that you can reach to drain from time to time where they go into the tanks. And then if I ever do have to service it, this top board and this side board just comes off with a couple screws. I built this angle iron frame for everything. And then up in the top here where this board is at, there's actually a compartment, and I'll show you that a little bit more when I get inside, and that's where I store tow straps. I have a little air compressor for my air mattress and trailer hitches, things like that I store in there. So let me put this back together, and then we'll get in the back of the truck here, and I'll show you what's going on in there. Before I climb up in here, I wanted to show you right here, I've got a dome light. I got 2 sets of WSBs and 2 power points for 12 volt. And then I have a 120 volt plug, and a lot of this is so if you're maybe at a job site where you're helping a buddy or something and you need some power for whatever to charge batteries or plug your cell phone in, or maybe run a circular saw or something with the generators, then this is nice and back here at the back of the truck, so you don't have to climb up in there to use stuff. Back in the corner here on the driver's side, I've got a switch I wired in. It goes to my auxiliary batteries that I put in for this setup back here, which I'll show you that in a bit too. But basically there's a switch to turn the overhead domes on. When I picked it up, the lights, the way they hook them up is to the tail lights. So you have to have the headlights on for them to work, and then there's a button on each light, so you'd have to climb up in there and hit the button to turn each light on and off. And this way, they're both on a switch. They're hooked to the battery. It works all the time. There is a fuse down there by the battery in case something goes wrong, but this way you can turn them on whether the truck's on or not. Okay, I'm up here in the back of the truck. I've got this 10,000 BTU air conditioner here, and it can plug into these plugs when you're on generator, or you know, you can also plug into the pole and not use the generator. But over here on the side, it's what this air conditioner is strapped to, and then also there's these loops that my air hose, I've got a first one there is a couple 25-foot air hoses, then the yellow cord is my 30-amp cord that the truck plugs into, and then I've just got a regular extension cord there. But all that goes to a piece of E-track, which in the front, let me get a little closer here. Okay, a little bit closer here. Whoops. Hooks to there, and then it comes to the back, and it hooks in where your tie-down hooks go. And I've had a piece of E-track made on a bracket there, so I've got something to fasten down stuff. I took this all the way to South Dakota and back with this air conditioner clipped here, and it never even moved, so it works really well. Say it gives me a place to hook on. I've got a 12-volt fan there. And then up here in the window, I've just got a little, like a kitchen basket that's, you know, sticks to the window, and I just put like remote controls and things like that in there. And then the one thing I want to stress here, this is not a camper. I see a lot of guys making campers to do this, that they're staying in. I only sleep in this when I'm on the road. So this is just for my convenience, to be able to, you know, on the way to South Dakota, I grabbed a little campground on the way out at Iowa State Campground and pulled in. It was 16 bucks. They had electric hookup, but basically I watched a movie. Under the towel there that you see in front of you is I think it's a 13 or a 19-inch. It's not a very big TV, and it's a DVD player also, and I watched a movie on it, and I took a nap. But this is not, you know, intended for, I suppose you could, as long as, you know, for me, I want a shower facility and stuff, but, you know, I suppose you could camp back here, but, you know, for the most part, for me anyway, it's just to, you know, pull off for the night, get some sleep, and then hit the road again the next day. Up in the front here, got, again, some USBs on there, got 12-volt plug-ins there. Over on the side is a little air gauge for the air setup, so you can you know what's in the tank while you're back here. There is a monitor for the voltage for the back batteries. There's a dome light down here that you can flip this switch. This switch here, which the tanks are pumped up right now, turns on the air compressor, and then this one, I'm not going to make my neighbors mad, but this one here blows the horn, which I need to change that switch, something with a gated lock on it, so you can't really bump it. Down on the bottom is the 120 and the 12-volt fuse box. And then over here, I'm going to move this a little bit. Over here on the side here is my compartment, which this here opens up. And then inside of here, I have, like I said, I have a little 12-volt air compressor to pump up my air mattress, and I have a couple tow straps and trailer hitches and things of that nature. I do also have a blowgun and this Blue Point for pumping up tires, letting them out. And so I made it with this board. It goes over the front, all the way to the front. But you can see, remove this camera again. Up in the front here, there's a fill neck. And under this board, it starts about 2 foot back from the front of the capper. There's a 100-gallon transfer flow fuel tank from a company in Chico, California. I was a dealer for them when I had the big shop open. We put lots of these in for fifth-wheel trucks and stuff. I want it so I can hit the road, have a lot of fuel. I can get fuel where I see it to be. You know, every time you travel, there's always an area where it's 20, 30, 40 cents a gallon less. And that way it allows me to hit those areas most of the time. Because like I said, I've got plenty of fuel. I carry around 145 when I'm full, so I can go quite a ways on that. All right, and up in the front is a sliding glass window, and I've had a plate made. I'm not going to get it out right now, but you can open that window, put it up in the window, and then close the window down on it, and it allows me to vent the air conditioner out the sliding window in the front if I need to, or I can just simply run the tube out the back and not quite close the upper glass, which I think this 10,000 BTU air conditioner will cool this cap even with the windows open. So got my air mattress over here on the side, some blankets and stuff that I sleep on, and you know, I think that's pretty much the gist of it inside here. I want to get out of the truck and get under it and inside it and show you some of the other mods. But like I said, this took me about 3 months to complete, maybe a little bit more. I'm not quite done. I still want to get a front winch bumper on it, and I want a bulletproof. It's got a 6-liter diesel in it, which isn't my favorite, but once they're bulletproof, they can be pretty dependable. So anyway, let's get out of the back here, and then I'll show you the batteries underneath and some of the mods, and then we'll get inside the truck. Okay, I wanted a nice stellar set of mud flaps on here, and I don't know what these things weigh, but I'll bet they weigh 10 pounds or a little more a piece. The brackets that I ordered for them they were out of sheet metal and flimsy, and so I had these made. They're 3/16 thick angle steel. Goes into a bracket in here that goes up and around the helper spring mount up there, and then it bolts into the lip of the fender here, and it makes them pretty stout. There's a sandwich plate here that locks the mud flap in. So, you know, eventually they always wear, they bump your tire and different things, and, you know, there's always things that happen to them. But this is a pretty good mount here that will definitely, I think, outlast the mud flap, you know, many times over. I'm sure I'll be able to change this mud flap a few times before I need to worry about these mounts. It is really dirty right now. I haven't cleaned the truck since I got back from Sturgis, and, you know, we had some rain out there, and it was a dirt road going into the campground and, you know, in different places. So definitely it needs a bath, but we'll be dealing with that in a bit. Okay, here's the back tire. I had aluminum wheels on it, and I didn't like them because you can't rotate them when they're aluminum, because you have 4 aluminums and you have 2 steel wheels, and then the aluminums, I had one set that was only shiny on one side, so you can't really rotate them, so I replaced all the aluminum wheels with steel wheels, and I got these beauty liners. And dualies are always kind of a pain to check the air anyway, so I've got the air hoses on here, and at the end of each one I have a tire pressure monitor. So these hoses are a little bit famous in time for starting to leak a little bit, but by having the tire pressure monitor on there, I should be able to catch it before it's an issue and get it handled. Over here on the driver's side, the side door opens up here, and this gives me the ability to fuel up the fuel tank right here, and then of course access anything that I might need from the side. But the main purpose of this being an opening window is to be able to fuel this, and obviously with the way this setup is, you can't just go in here and wild pump fuel. You do need to, you know, be a little bit, I filled it, I don't know, 6 or so times now since I've had it, and I haven't spilled a drop yet, so it's just a matter of paying attention. I'm up under the driver's side of the truck. Right back there is the rear tire. I've had a couple battery boxes made for it. You can see it here. I'm trying to not shadow it out here because I have a light on under here. It clamps onto the frame. It doesn't bolt to it, so I didn't have to drill any holes or anything. And then it's spaced out enough to allow the parking brake cable to get through there. And this battery is attached to a battery on the other side, which powers up the back. So that way when I stop for night and I'm drawing battery, I'm not going to risk not being able to start the truck in the morning. And then I'll show you the rest of the system over on the other side. I'm over here underneath the passenger side now. There's the back door. Here's the battery that's over on the passenger side here, and there's a little bit more going on over here. Right here I have an air solenoid. This is what controls the air horn, which over there is the air horn. It's a 4-horn system. Works pretty good. Vixen is the manufacturer. It came with a 1/4-inch air line, and I've converted everything, and it's now a 1/2-inch air line on 200 psi, so it blows pretty hard. But that's the solenoid over here that controls it. This battery over here is hooked to the battery over on the driver's side, and then this battery goes up into the box, and this is where the 12-volt up there comes from. This hooks into the fuse box, and then everything up there powers off that fuse box. And then up here a little bit down the frame rail some more, I've got a heavy-duty relay here. This connects the back batteries to the front. So when the key has to be on or the truck running, and if you turn the switch on, then this will connect the back batteries to the front batteries so that the back ones get charged. If you ever do have a bad battery in the front, when you go to start it, you can turn the switch on and then it'll start off these back batteries, so it's a little bit of an emergency start too. I've also got a front and rear light out each side, and I've got some in the rear. I'll show you in a minute here. These are to light the ground up around the truck at night. Say you're trying to maneuver in a campground, or there's stuff all over the place, and you look in the mirror, you can't see crap. So anyway, this lights the ground up around it. There's a big heavy 0-gauge cable that goes all the way up to the front to the batteries there. Okay, I'm up under the back of the truck now. Since I moved over here, my household generator just started up. It runs every Sunday for 20 minutes as a test, and that's that engine you can hear running in the background. It actually has the GM 4.3 that powers it up. so that's going to run for the next 20 minutes. But anyway, I'm under the back of the truck. I've got two sets of lights here. One point straight back, one's at a bit of an angle here to kind of light up around the back. I do have on the back a backup camera up here. So, you know, I can back up to the trailer, I can see the hitch, I can, you know, line it right up, but at night it's still dark and it's hard to see, so turning these lights on helps for that. And, you know, like I said, just lighting up around the truck. Up here, I made a bracket, and this is where the 30 amp plug hooks up to right here. So you can hook up your 30 amp plug, you can plug into the pole or plug into the generator, whatever you want. If we can see them back here, but up there, let me get a little light on this. Up there is the rear airbag, and of course there's one on the other side too. Those were also put in. And you can kind of see a little bit of the mud flat bracket here, how it goes up and over the perch for the helper spring there. Okay, here is the front, and the airbag there for the front, and then out here on the front, down here is your tire pressure monitor. It's got the same beauty liner covering the steel wheel with the hole cut in the center removed so that you can still get to the lockout. This truck is a 2003 F-350, and it's a Lariat LE, the LE standing for limited edition, which it comes with a few things because of that. It's got these lighted running boards, which, you know, now we're talking 2003, you know, this technology is nothing today, but back then it was a little bit ahead. Lighted mirrors, the lighted visor. The biggest feature on it, though, is the interior, I think. It has captain's chairs, front and rear. No bench seat back here, so it's a pretty big truck. 4-door holds 4 people. Back here, I had the stereo upgraded. There's a subwoofer here, and then down behind the seat, which the mount still here isn't done yet. I've still got to get that part finished yet. But there's an amp in behind this seat here, but all the seats have this embroidered Lariat LE on them, and the center console, and like I said, 2 captain's chairs. Okay, I'm inside the truck now. I'll show you a few mods I did in here. First thing is, you know, my very first trip, the Ford 6-disc quit working. So this is a Kenwood Exelon 994S, I believe is the numbers on it. It was actually a couple years earlier model. It was brand new, sealed in the box when I got it, but it wasn't the most recent version. But, you know, for me, it's more than fine. I got a hell of a deal on it because it wasn't, you know, the brand new model year. And part of it here is down here, there's a couple of USBs, and those hook to the stereo. The newer versions, that's wireless. You don't need to actually plug your phone in for the Android Auto. But that's fine. You know, I don't care about that. Down here, I've got the gauge and controls for the front and rear airbags. Simply up or down on both of them, front and rear. Right here is a boost for the bass, for the subwoofer, for the stereo. Down here is total air pressure for the system, which it's reading right now about 180, 185. And then the trailer brake controller below that. Couple other mods I've done here. This gauge here shows me what the back batteries are reading. This is the switch here that turns that solenoid on that opens and closes the connection from the front batteries to the rear batteries. So basically, if you sleep in the truck that night and you know, you've used some power in that. When you get ready to take off in the morning, you want to turn that on and get them batteries charged back up. Over on this side is the power switch for the air compressor, and none of these will work right now because the key has to be on. But this is the power switch to turn the air compressor on and off for the air system. And then this is the button that makes the air horn, the train horn, blow. Up here, got two units here. The lower one is the Trax 3 module for the transfer flow tank. When it's lit up, the top row shows the main tank and how many gallons are in it, which the main tank would be the one that Ford put on the truck. And then the aux tank, which is the auxiliary tank, is the transfer flow tank, and that'll show how many gallons are in that. Above it here is the tire pressure monitor system, which I have it set up right now for 11 tires, which will be the 6 tires on the truck plus the spare, and then the 4 tires on the trailer, and it'll show me the temperature and air pressure of all 11 tires, and you can actually add many more. You just pick which program setup you want for tire configuration, and you can buy tire pressure monitors. So the only other 2 tires I have are the 2 tires for the spare, or the spare tires for the trailer, which are inside the trailer. So I wasn't really going to worry about a monitor for them, although I believe these really reach a long ways away. I'd probably still read those tires inside the trailer, but I guess I just don't think they're necessary to read those. So up here on the top of the pillar is the microphone for the Bluetooth. You come over here, and there's the driving cam that hooks up to the stereo. There is also an SD card in it, and it records. And also, if the truck's parked in a parking lot or wherever and somebody hits the truck and it jars it, this camera will turn on, and, you know, obviously it can't move around. It'll only record what's out the front. But it'll record any movement, you know, that happens around it for a bit. And then down here on the front is the sensor for the GPS to give your direction there. And I think that's pretty much the, oh no, I got one more. Down here is an 8-panel switch. This is the left and the right side lights. This is the backup lights that go straight out the rear. This is the backup lights that point a little an angle. And then there's 4 here. I've taped them off because without the covering sticker, they're pretty bright. But these 4 here will be for the front winch bumper. It will have a few sets of driving lights on it. And this will control that. There's actually a box under the hood that everything wires to. And this is just a relay that goes to that box, so it makes adding accessories really, really easy. So that's pretty much all the mods of the truck. Like I said, it took me a few months to do it. There's still a few more things I want to do, but at least I'm at a point now where I don't feel like I have to get stuff done right away. But that's pretty much the truck. I appreciate you watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you got any comments or you have any questions about what I used or how I did it or anything like that, feel free to respond in the comments. I try to respond pretty rapidly. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day. We'll see you till the next video. Bye.